Hello Internet! Today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different. I'm going to be trying bagels, which is a very specialised type of lean dough bread that is boiled before being baked. So, to start with, I'm going to be making 8 bagels, two each of 4 different types. So I've prepared 140 millilitres of warm water. I've left one plain. This is going to be for seeded bagels. One with just yellow. This is going to be for plain bagels. One with a mix of blue and yellow for green. This is going to be for my onion and garlic bagels. And one red. This is going to be for cinnamon and fruit bagels. Okay, so for the ratio I'm going to be using, it's 70 millilitres of water per 100 grams of flour. So for each of these, I'm going to want 200 grams of flour with the water. Let's start with the plain undyed water for the seeded bagels first. So take those. Zero the controls and get this to 200. It's a little tricky to do this one-handed. Okay, that's about right. If I just take a little bit off the top. Okay, got it. Add to that just a little bit of salt. And again, we don't want any fat. This is a lean dough, originally made by, I believe, Italian Jews. So lean dough. We're going to add bit of yeast as well, which I don't know if the Jews used, but I'm using it. Okay, that's spilt some of that, but okay, I can get more of that. Oh bugger, it's going everywhere. Not to worry, that's just spilled a little bit of the green dyed stuff. We'll just add a spoonful of this. As I said, it's a little tricky to do all of this one-handed, but I need a hand to hold the camera phone. So we add in spoonfuls of yeast, then mix this into a dough and then put it into one of these bowls to rise. I'm going to repeat that with the others. For this, of course, this being the seeded one, I'm also going to add some seeds. For the others, I'm going to add things like ground cinnamon and sultanas for the cinnamon fruit ones, and for the plain one, won't be adding anything at all, but I've got some onion granules and garlic granules for my savoury green ones. Okay, I need to get some washing up. I need to get some, not washing up liquid, so yes, some kitchen roll for that spill. And I'll resume recording when I've got all 4 doughs ready to rise. Okay, so I've got these now ready to rise. I'm going to leave them for an hour or so. I've got my cinnamon and sultana one. Used ground cinnamon, so I want to use ground cinnamon. Add a little bit of white sugar to that as well. Ignore the honey, that doesn't come in till later. I've got my yellow dyed plain here, so that's nice and simple. Just the salt, flour, water, and yeast for that. Here I've got my undyed seeded, and here I've got my faintly green dyed. The dye didn't come out too well. Maybe I should have used a bit more blue, but my green dyed savoury one, which has onion granules, and garlic granules. So that should come out nice enough later. I will wait a bit. Sorry, it's the kitchen roll from when I spilled some earlier. So we'll wait for them to rise, shape them into bagel shape, boil them, and then bake them. Got some water boiling here. I'm going to add some honey to it when I put it on there, and once I've added the water in, I'll turn the hob on, heat that up. I'll also preheat the oven, but first I'm just going to roll these into donut shape, into these kind of donut ring shapes. They're the right shape for bagels. So they've all risen nicely. I'm doing the plain ones first, and when I've got them all ready, I'll start the next step of the video. Okay, that's the boiling water just added. You note I've got these all rolled out. So as I said before, add just a bit of honey to, come on, mixture. A moment here. Yeah, I need to squeeze this with both hands to get it in. That should help caramelise the surface and lead to a much nicer conclusion. And I've turned the hob on, just not to full power, but just enough that these should nicely go over. Now I can put them in one-handed. I'm afraid to get them out I'm going to have to use the tongs, and I can't really do that one-handed. So I'm going to end this portion of the video now. Next step should be when I've got them all done on both sides, and then I can put them in the oven and bake them. Okay, so I'll consider this a bit of a lesson for next time. It didn't go quite as I expected. They've spread out a little bit, and there's not as much room on the tray as I thought there'd be for them. But for the most part, they've boiled. I've turned the hob off. I'm going to let that water cool down before I pour it. This should, emphasis on should, as long as I turn those over, be able to bake properly. So I'll show you what it's like after they're baked. And here they are. I am not 100% happy with the shapes on all of them. Some of them definitely came out better, and I think it's the fact that the water hadn't quite gotten hot enough when I put the first 4 in. You can definitely tell these plain ones, these cinnamon and sultana ones, didn't do as good of a job in terms of shape. These ones turned out a lot better though, and you can still tell the different types. It's still got its greenish tint, plain, yellowish, red. So overall, pretty happy with these. I'm going to try eating some when they've cooled down a bit, but I'd say this is a moderately successful first attempt.